This is Engage New York, Module 1, Lesson 4. Our objective today, read it out loud as I read it. Metric, and we're going to metric units. Objective. I can use exponents to denote powers of 10 with application. Denote means to write. We are going to start with our fluency practice. Our fluency practice is multiply and divide decimals by 10, 100, and 1,000. Now, I have included this chart above here for you to use if you need it. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to think about what's happening to your numbers when you're multiplying by 10, 100, and 1,000. What's happening to your numbers when you're dividing by 10, 100, or 1,000? Think about that. If you want to use the chart above to help you, go ahead and do so. I'm going to give you about 1 minute to work on that, and then we're going to come back and check your work. So go ahead and do this on your own, and then come back to check your work. All right, so I did not use the chart above. Instead, I just knew to move my decimals. Now remember, when I multiply by 10, 100, or 1,000, my decimal is going to move this direction. My numbers are moving in this direction across the place value chart because my numbers are getting bigger. When I divide by 10, 100, or 1,000, remember, my numbers are getting smaller. And so my decimal goes in this direction. So here I go. I multiply by 10, 324. Divided by 10, 3.24. Multiplied by 100, 1, 2, 3,240. Divided by 100, 1, 2, 0.324. I'm dividing by 1,000, 1, 2, 3, 0.837. Multiplying by 1,000, I'm going to move my decimal 3 times, 418. All right, hopefully you did well and you're starting to get the hang of this. Let's go ahead and review again about writing the unit as a decimal. I'm going to give you 1 minute to work on your own. And remember, decimal. And if there's a tenths, what number has to be in the tenths? What number has to be in the hundreds? So go ahead, work on that, and come on back. All right. Now, this one was a tricky one. You had to know to take your decimal and write it into word form. So this should be written as 9/10. 1 is the same as 10/10. Remember, because you have to bundle it and move it over. So 1 is equal to 10/10. Then we have 2, 3. Now remember, you don't have to necessarily write that. I'm just showing you as a place value to show you the place value because it could be 2, 3, 7. Then we have 9/100, 10 hundredths. Now remember, 10, you can't fit 10 in here. You can only fit the maximum of 9, and then you have to move it over. So 10 hundredths is the same as 1/10. 11 hundredths, 17 hundredths. Remember, the 7 has to be sitting in the hundredths place. The 7 has to be sitting in the hundredths place. The 2 has to be sitting in the hundredths place. Then we have 9 thousandths. Then 10 thousandths is the same as 100 because remember, we're bundling. When you bundle and you get to 10, you have to move it over 1 place value. It's 2 hundredths, 6 hundredths, and this is 64 thousandths. All right, hopefully you did well. Our next part of our fluency practice is write each one of these numbers in exponential form, 10 to the what? So go ahead, I'll give you 30 seconds, and I bet you can do it faster than 30 seconds. Come back, check your work. All right, did you get 10 to the second, 10 to the third, 10 to the fourth, 10 to the sixth? Lastly, let's come over here and we're going to convert units. So 1 kilometer is equal to how many meters? 1 kilogram is equal to how many grams? So I want you to think of the word kilo. Kilo means 1,000. And mil means 1,000. Centi means 100. So 1000 is 1,000. Centi is 100. Try it out. How many kilometers? If you had 1 kilometer, now remember, kilometer is all the way down here on that place value chart. Meter is right sitting next to the decimal point. So, how many meters are in 1 kilometer if kilo means 1,000? Try it out and see and come on back. All right. So hopefully you put this together. There are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. There are 1,000 grams, and grams is when you're weighing something by weight. For instance, those chips in a bag, the cereal in a box. Grams, there are 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. There are 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. Think of that liter bottle, and a milliliter would be a little eyedropper. How many times would you have to push the eyedropper to get 1 full liter? You would have to do it 1,000 times. And we know that there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. All right, finally, our application problem. We are going to use the place value chart, and here are our columns. So what I'd like you to do is I'm going to give you some numbers, and I want you to place those numbers into the place value chart. Okay, so let's go ahead and start by just labeling our place value chart. And here's ones. Now, ones is the same as either meters, grams, or liters. This would be your baseline. If I said 1 meter, 1 gram, 1 liter, this is where that sits. Now, so let's write this down. And then I want you to try to fit this into your place value chart. If I said 1 millimeter is equal to 1,000 meters, what does that look like in the place value chart? If I said 1 millimeter is equal to, so 1 millimeter is equal to 1/1000th of a meter. It's 1/1000th of a meter. What does that look like in the place value chart? Just write it out. See if your answer is going to match mine. All right, did you end up with 0.001 meters? And does your decimal look like this? All right, let's try centimeter. 1 centimeter is equal to 1/100th of a meter. What do you think this, if this looks like this, what do you think this is going to look like? And then put it in the box above. Try it out. See how you do. All right. Hopefully you ended up with 0.01 because it's centimeters, and you have 1 of them. 1. You have 1 here. And so 1 millimeter is equal to 0.001, and 1 centimeter in decimal form is equal to 0.01. Now, this is what it looks like in fraction form. This would be key if I asked you to write it in expanded form. Some people really like using the fractions. Some people really like using the decimal. All right, that is it for our fluency practice for today. We are moving on to concept development.